And we are live.
Welcome everyone to the May 12th Dublin Complete Count Committee meeting. This is our second teleconference, but our first that we've live streamed. So thanks to everybody for being there, for being patient while we work through all of this. Much appreciated. I thought we could start with subcommittee reports and any updates. So the first one is education, and Eric. Last time there weren't a lot of updates, but you had mentioned that the school has encouraged the census essay contest.
We're still in the same boat. In the education world, it's kind of all hands on deck for graduation at this point. So that's where a lot of our efforts have been, kind of as a collective community. We're still kind of, I wouldn't say a heavy push on the census at this point, but it's still on our website. We've linked to the city's website on our website, and so that's still live there. So no necessarily active pushes for the census since our last meeting, but it's still kind of I guess, an undertone of what we're going through as well.
All right, super. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. We'll go to seniors, and I know Kim is not here, but Christine is here. And we had talked last time about the food pantry and getting something, stickers or flyers or something on the packaging so that we can get those out there to the seniors. So Christine, did you want to give an update?
Sure. Those flyers and stickers were distributed to the food pantry. Their increase is pretty exponential, so we're reaching more folks that way. We've also done a lot of work with our Avondale residents, our Dublin Community Senior Citizens, and we're messaging it consistently and constantly through Dublin Cares and many of our outreach efforts. So I think we've seen the needle move a little bit.
Super, thank you. Do you have any additional needs or thoughts on how we might reach that population, or just keep doing what we're doing?
I think we'll keep doing what we're doing. We are working on a plan for a free senior outreach drive-up lunch pickup. And so when that comes to fruition in June, we will continue to deliver that message on those box lunches.
Super. Actually, you mentioned box lunches, and Eric, this is a question maybe for you for the schools. Would the schools consider during this sort of last full week of school distributing a flyer with the lunches and the breakfast that they're handing out to the kids as the kids come collect them?
It's something I can inquire about.
Yeah.
And I wonder if instead of handing it out with every single meal, if we just have flyers on hand on the table with those meals for distribution. So that way it's there for people to get that information if they see it there on the table.
Cool. Yeah, that would be great if you wouldn't mind following up and then just shooting us all an email.
I can do that.
That'd be great. Thank you. I appreciate that. Christine, do you have anything else? No? Super. So next is our faith and community base, and that's Jill. So last time you talked about emails and Facebook posts as reminders. Christine actually had a meeting with the faith-based organizations as well, and that she was going to share the census resources with them. So I don't know if either one of you want to hop in. Jill?
Did you mean Christine Nardecchia had a meeting? There you are. Christine, did you meet with them, with the faith-based?
I did. In fact, we just had a meeting yesterday.
Okay,
to
I'll let you
plan our senior free box lunch pickup. So yes, they've got the messaging as well. They're working really hard to figure out potential in-person worship. They're still continuing virtual, but yes, the messaging is with our faith community as well.
And I think we are also planning to, I think COVID has kind of changed things a little bit, but we've been planning to do some social media pushes, and I'll be talking to Steve again about that. One thing I did want to say about the school thing, we've been there, at least Dublin Bridges has been every Friday. they're really, you could put flyers on the tables, but they are all outside, and there really isn't a human being that can hand them out. So I don't know if that would end up being a problem. So it actually could be something you'd want to stick in a bag or something to that effect. We could do that with our snacks that we do every Friday as well. Maybe put it in the bag. So just something to think about.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. Thanks, Jill. And I know Dublin Bridges has been doing just some extraordinary work. So thank you
Thanks.
for all of that work as well. We talked about that at council last night. Jane gave us a great update. So
Well,
the
thanks.
entire community owes you a debt of gratitude.
Oh, no, we're happy to do it.
You know, the Arts Council is also handing out those artistic packets with the
Yes.
lunches, and there could be an art themed project about census that they include, since
Yeah,
the
that would be
distribution is
great.
already happening as well. So could you touch base with or someone?
We're actually collaborating with the Arts Council on that, so they
Could you
haven't gone
touch
out
base
yet.
with David about that? If there
Yeah,
could be
absolutely.
a census themed arts project that they hand out.
Yeah,
would be
I'll
great.
talk to Janet and
Great.
David. That would be great. Yeah.
Super. Yeah, she'd be the right person to talk to for
Yes.
sure. Awesome. Yeah, thank you, Jill. And then just maybe shoot me an email and let me know how that conversation goes.
Absolutely.
And then we can update everybody at the next meeting.
Great.
Wonderful. Good ideas. All right. So our next subcommittee is international. So Ben, last time we talked about, there's not a ton of things happening, but there's a high population of Asian residents in certain areas of the city that might not be reached out to directly. And you were looking for some ideas and some thoughts on how to do that. So did you want to give us a quick update?
Well, as of that meeting, kind of one of the things that we had come across or we had determined is that there's a little bit of an overlap in terms of the senior population and some of the communities in that area. So the thought that we had at the time is that a lot of the outreach that was going to be occurring in that medium would be intersecting with the international community as well. So we, on that regard, from an international committee perspective, we did not do anything because there's no need to kind of double up what was already taking place. Beyond that, no updates to share at this time.
Super. Thank you, Ben. I appreciate it. So that brings us to the response rate review. And so for this part of our agenda, I'm actually going to turn it over to Mark so that he can talk us through the response rates. Mark?
Thank you, Christina. Hello, everyone. I am so happy to talk to you guys today. I am so proud of the city of Dublin and their response rate as of yesterday. So let me pull up my slide. Homer, are you advancing my slides or is someone else?
We don't have any slides up. Do you have a presentation?
Yeah, so the slides.
No, you need to do, did you share? Yeah, there we go.
Okay. Are they up? Because I can't see.
Yes, they are up.
Great. So as, go to slide 2, please. As of yesterday, the Dublin response rate is 76.3, which is outstanding. That's in comparison to a national response rate of 58.6 and the Ohio response rate of 63.8 and Delaware County response rate of 73.7, Union County 72.5, and Franklin County 60. So you guys are doing a fantastic job with reaching out to your population and getting them counted. So we so much appreciate that. And I also brag about you guys all the time in our local meetings and our regional meetings about the job and the stuff that you guys are doing. So I want you to know that I brag about you guys a lot. So thank you so much for all your hard work. Next slide, please. So these are the response rate comparisons with cities in Central Ohio of comparable size. I did a dive into that. You could just put in cities in Central Ohio between 35K and 45K, and Dublin's ranked 3rd in that at 76.3, behind Westerville at 77.7, just slightly behind them, and Upper Arlington at 79.7. So just so you can get a comparison on how you're doing in regards to other area cities of comparable size. Next slide, please. So I just wanted to share with you guys some best practices in increasing in response rates. We go through some different phases with this, and you guys have gone along with me along this journey. So we have an education phase early on last year, and then we have an awareness phase, and then now we're in the response phase. And now it's not so much about education. We still want to do that a little bit, but we want to get people to respond. And we want people to know to go to my2020census.gov/jobs and respond online. If they don't want to do that, they should go to an 800 number, 844-330-2020, and someone will walk them through responding online. So that's a good option for seniors who don't want to go online to do the census. And that's the type of message in these handout flyers to seniors when we're calling seniors, or in the message to the schools now. We want them to know how to respond online. So online, by phone, or everyone should have already received their paper questionnaire. So we want them to fill those out and mail them in. So that's kind of the message we want to get right now in the response phase. And that message is going to be carried out for the next several months as we respond to the census. So, and some best practices in regarding to increasing response rates would be to target outreach hard to count populations in the lowest responding census tracts. I think Homer's going to share that map with you that shows that we have one area that's not a bad area, but it's just lower than the rest of the city of Dublin in regards to response rates. And I think we determined that some of the hard to count populations in that particular low responding census tract is renters. And also there's a high agent population, and they need to get that message to respond now through those different modalities. So that's a good best practice. The next one is to increase our digital communication, especially during this COVID period, because we can't do our in-person outreach. So we want to increase our digital communications. And we really want to emphasize more consistent periodic messaging on how to respond. Back in the education and the awareness phase, a message maybe once a month or putting up on the website on some page that's not really visited was okay, but now we really want to get a consistent periodic message regarding responding. That's the thing that improves the response rate. So some places have a banner that pops up as soon as you open the website or as soon as you go to the social media. And by the way, social media postings there's much more activity on the social media postings in most cases than with the city websites. So, and then some websites, I've seen that they have a pop-up box. As soon as you go to the website, before you can go anywhere else, there's a 2020 census message that pops up. And again, those messages should be to respond now by going online or by phone or by the paper questionnaire, mailing them in. And that phone number and that website should be readily available and readily seen in those periodic consistent messages. So every day if possible, at least every week, having that message consistently repeated is the best practices for improving response rates. And then next, we want to utilize organizations with large communication platforms. So city government communication platforms, the school systems reach more people than anybody else, in our opinions, and a consistent message. And there's multiple communication platforms with the city, with the schools. So if we could get them in on as many as possible with that same message to respond now online or by phone or by paper would be great. Churches are trusted voices. Our faith-based community are trusted voices. They can influence more than anybody else hard to count populations. And we really need their involvement. Without faith-based organizations, it would be really hard to conduct a decennial census. So we really need involvement of any ministerial alliances and outreach to churches to make sure that they're giving a census message at its sermons, its services, on their marquee if possible, any email communications or bulletins or newsletters. If there's a consistent periodic census message to respond now to the 2020 census, that would be a great best practice. I think I had a typo on this last bullet point. Should be large businesses. If we can get employ large businesses to communicate with their employee base with a census message, that would also be great. Next slide, please.
That was the last slide that I had, Mark.
Okay, so Do you
What
want,
I have displayed right now is the census tracts that you had mentioned. So everybody can see that down there in that lower right-hand corner, that very light blue shaded area.
Homer, we're not seeing that
Oh,
screen.
not
Yeah.
seeing it?
No.
We are seeing
Your
your ZenWorks window.
Oh, okay. Well, let me try this
Try
again.
again.
How about this one?
That's it.
Okay. All right, I was trying to flip back and forth between different windows. So anyway, down there in that lower right hand quadrant, we actually have about, if you draw a diagonal line from the upper left hand corner to the lower hand corner, that one track right there, the northeastern part of that quadrant or that track belongs to Dublin, and then kind of about half of all the rest of that going to the west of there. So that's all an area that we kind of split between Columbus, Dublin, and Hilliard, depending on what the actual address is in there. So so it might be a little misleading looking at this, but just looking at this graphically, it's hard to pull out just what specifically belongs to Dublin. Go ahead, Mark. I didn't mean to cut you off.
okay. And I would love to give a COVID-19 update on some of our delays and postponements, if that's possible, Christina.
Yes, that would be great. That was my next question for you.
Okay, great. Incidentally, on that map that Homer's showing you, the darker the blue area are the better responding rates, and the lighter the area, you probably have ascertained by now, are the lower responding rates. So the lighter it is, the lower or the worst responding rates. Anyway, I'd like to read a statement from the headquarters of the Census Bureau in regards to COVID-19. So in light of the COVID-19 outbreak, the U.S. Census Bureau has adjusted 2020 census operations in order to primarily protect the health and safety of the American public and Census Bureau employees, implement guidance from federal, state, and local authorities regarding COVID-19, and finally to ensure a complete and accurate count of all communities. So guidance was issued by the Office of Management and Budget and the Office of Personnel Management has given federal agencies guidelines to resume operations on an epidemiological sound, data-driven basis, adhering to the latest federal, state, and local guidance. Census Bureau continues to monitor the changing conditions at the state and local level and will update its planned start dates for selected operations and in selected states, consulting with the appropriate officials. Information provided daily to the Census Bureau from FEMA, as well as state and local authorities, will be used to guide Census Bureau decisions on timing. As a result, selected field operations will resume on a phased schedule on a geographic basis. Under the adjusted 2020 Census Operational Plan, the Census Bureau is conducting a series of preparatory activities, so we are fully ready to resume field activities as we continue to advance the mission of the 2020 Census to ensure a complete and accurate count. So in-person activities, including enumeration, office work, and processing activities will always incorporate the most current guidance from authorities to ensure the healthy and safety of staff and the public. So there is a chart on our website that shows you current local area census offices that are beginning to bring census employees into the area, into the area census office, getting ready to start operations again. It's anticipated, and this is fluid and changing, it's anticipated that Ohio will begin in several weeks, in a week to 2 weeks. And again, that could change based on, directions from the government or public health officials, but they're anticipating in the next couple of weeks, we're going to bring in people into the area census office, start getting them practice in social distancing in the area census office and how to do this safely for the safety of employees. In any field operations, they're going to provide safety PPE for employees that are in the field. There was one operation called Update Leave, which is basically a smaller operation for less than 5% of the nation that goes out and delivers a census questionnaire and an invitation to rural households, those households that don't have a regular city-style street address like 123 Main. They have a post office box where they receive the mail, the post office. So we had to stop that operation 3 days into it, and that's one of the first operations that's gonna begin. Those people, those census employees will only drop off a census questionnaire and an invitation to go online. There'll be a paper questionnaire and an invitation to go on. They'll drop those off on the porch or at the doorstep. There's going to be no contact when they start to finish up that operation. But that operation needs to go several more weeks after they resume to finish that operation for those particular communities, primarily rural communities. A couple other things about the update. So self-response phase, a lot of people are confused. That they thought in some areas that April 1st was the last day to do the census. April 1st is just the reference day for the census. It's census day. You can self-respond originally until July 31st, but because of this COVID, now you're going to be able to respond through October 31st. So you can still self-respond through October 31st. So that means we have some time. Hopefully, if we are opened up, we can do some in-person outreach and promotion regarding the response then. I talked about update leave, how that's delayed and when that'll probably start. And the other one I want to talk about is, so by the constitutional statute, we deliver the apportionment count to the president by December 31st. That's not going to be possible because of the delay. So we are asking statutory relief from Congress in order to delay that to April 30th. Which would be a 4-month delay. So we need some more time to actually get that count to the president. And then that means we're going to move back the delivery of the redistricting counts to the states. We're going to move that back to July 31st. So that hasn't been written in law yet. It hasn't been approved yet, but that's the statutory relief we're looking for. So that's it for the COVID update. And again, I just want to thank you guys. You guys are doing a fantastic job. The different ways we increase this response rate changes as we move along the continuum. And right now, the biggest thing I want to let you guys know is in the outreach materials that you're doing, making sure you're talking to people about letting them know how to respond by online or by phone or by mail. Thank you.
Thanks, Mark. Mark, I have a quick question for you. Does Hilliard have a complete count committee?
No, they don't.
They do not. Okay. I think, go ahead.
I reached out to them and they just, I'll just leave it at that.
Okay. I wonder if perhaps maybe we can reach out to Hilliard City Council and maybe they would be willing to put something on their website or something like that. So I don't know, Homer, I'll reach out to you separately and maybe we can figure something out. Because I hear what you're saying, part of that sort of lower response area on our census tract is not us, it's a little bit Columbus and Hilliard. So it might take a little bit of partnership to, get some Hilliard folks to respond to the census in that area.
So Christina, just so everybody understands, so even though that census tract shows a combination of residents from Hilliard, Columbus, and Dublin, when everything's finalized, when you get the Dublin, the number for Dublin is the number for Dublin. It doesn't include residents in Columbus or Hilliard. Your response rate is for the city of Dublin.
Super. Thank you for the clarification. Eric Starkey, do you think that as we round out the end of the school year that there's a possibility that Doc Hoadley would be willing to throw in any one of his wrap-up messages for the year a little note about the census as well?
It's possible. Again, we'll have to see. Like I said, now it's just all graduation all the time.
I get it. I get it.
And so again, it's something I can inquire about and see if that's a possibility,
Yeah.
or even if it's I think at one point we talked about PSA videos.
Yes.
And even if it's something we work on in the summer,
Yep.
Once we get through the looking glass of graduation. So it's definitely something I can look into.
Yeah, that would be great. I'd appreciate it because I do think that the schools is one of those ways we can reach a lot of these folks, especially those who are renters and things like that, maybe, don't own property. I think,
Actually, hey,
go ahead.
I was gonna say, Christina, on that same note, so that area that we're low on, a lot of it is Dublin, but Hilliard schools.
Right.
And they're doing the distribution of lunches and stuff too. So I don't know if there's a way if we can find out who's doing that and get them those stickers or flyers.
Yeah, this is Christine. They are on our school faith-based and nonprofit meeting that we have every week.
Okay.
I will ask Vicki Clark, their assistant superintendent, if we can hit that area with the box lunch programs. Absolutely.
Yeah, that would be really fantastic. Thank you, Christine.
You're welcome.
Thank you for mentioning it, Amy. I think you're spot on there. Jenny, I wanted to just ask you if you had any updates on the work that you've been doing sort of with the businesses through the chamber, because I know you guys have been doing a lot.
We actually sent out an email today as a reminder for everyone to share with their employees to fill out the census, as well as I've been in touch with Mark, with your partners that actually are doing the hiring for the census workers. So we've done some job postings for them as well and shared those with a group that we have that's looking for temporary employment. And they also would like to come to one of our events we have scheduled in November. And I said, if that event happens in November, they definitely can display there as well. So, and it's been in our newsletter that's gone out to all the businesses as well. So we just are keeping it in our constant communication, as well as there's a video on our homepage that links to the census page.
Super. Thank you, Jenny. Thanks for your partnership in this. It's the chamber is such a huge part of the Dublin community. Without your help, we wouldn't be anywhere, I don't think, near the percentage where we are. So thanks a bunch. I know at one point we'd also talked about doing another video on the city webpage. So Sue, I don't know if you've thought any more about that. We've had some other videos that I think, frankly, were more important for us to get out there.
Yes, absolutely. Obviously, we've been focused on public education and all other topics around COVID-19. But we have, every week we push out information on the census, and it's an active post. It's how to do it, where to go. And we have posted some of the other videos that were really relevant, the one especially that had the direct correlation to healthcare. And we have done the targeted messaging. We can go into Nextdoor and we can target that geographic area that we're talking about. And we've done that. And we've also reached out to the Chinese community. So we will continue to do that. I've actually even seen on Nextdoor, there are people on the census committee that must be involved in Franklin County or in this area, and they're also posting as well. So the information is out there. I saw a couple of comments just yesterday that someone said, oh, I finally did it. And other people said, did it a long time ago. I think there was a mailing that went out, which may have helped. So I don't know at this point if we need another video on it. I think because it is such a small area and we're looking at really good percentage right now, and we've got till October. So I think the key is to really finding ways to reach those people in the Southeast and the Southwest.
Yeah, it's tough because on foot right now isn't going to happen.
No.
But we have till October. So
right.
There's the possibility that there will be folks out pounding the pavement and
right.
focusing on those areas before the end of October. So, all right, cool. That was pretty much all we had just on the formal agenda. We can certainly do a roundtable. I'll let anyone kind of hop in if they have any additional updates they'd like to share with the team. Yeah, I think we cover most of these updates during the reports and such, and the questions as we kind of banter back and forth, which is really good. All right, well, it looks like that is all. So unless there's anything else for the good of the order, I will get the notes together and I'll report back to council next time we meet on how we're doing. All right. Thank you everybody so much for coming and for everything and for all the work that you're doing. Really appreciate it. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.